Did you ever get up from your chair just because you never did it? Did your behavior ever change because you were being watched? At work, have you ever favored employees because they looked like you? If you have ever experienced one of these situations, you have faced what is called cognitive biases. You don't know what it is? Stay confident. Some details are shared in this video. Guillaume Degois, and welcome to Novanagement, the channel that plunges you into the heart of the issues of our humanity through the prism of management. Today we will uncover together what cognitive biases are and how they impact us on a daily and professional basis. This video serves as an introduction to a series that we will make on different cognitive biases, such as Dunning-Kruger syndrome or confirmation bias. I have been supporting companies in their transformation for 15 years, and I'm fascinated by the efficiency of good management led by confident leaders. My method is to share that experience as we will see together today. Cognitive biases. What are they? Diseases? Disorder? Not at all. Cognitive biases are normal and somewhat lazy thinking mechanisms that facilitate quick decision making and or by judgment. However, they are always misleading and influence our choices. They represent an error in heuristic reasoning. They are a short, rapid, and automatic way of thinking, meaning it lacks reflection. When we need to make a decision, our brain gets activated. Our first idea comes from System 1, also known as fast thinking. This is our intuitive way of thinking. This is very useful in most everyday situations and particularly effective in the face of danger. After this first step, we will potentially arrive at System 2, slow thinking. We are going to check what rapid thinking suggested. If we don't engage System 2, especially during important decision making, or worse, if we use it to confirm our System 1, then we remain in our fast thinking mode. That's when our cognitive biases manifest. Daniel Kahneman, in his book System 1, System 2, The Two Speeds of Thoughts, explain it very well. Let's take an example we already faced. You walk around the store with your shopping list in. You know very well what you want to buy. You look around you, and there it is, the opportunity of the century. 80% on microwave oven. Microwave ovens are not on your list. We even have one at home. But 80% off is not every day. If you don't take them now, you are perhaps missing the opportunity of the century. You are then in full cognitive bias called FOMO, the fear of missing out. So let's analyze how our two systems are functioning. When you see the label 80% off, whatever the product, your System 1 is activated. You're fast thinking. Upon seeing this offer, signals you to grab it. Then you can step back, putting your brain on System 2, slow thinking, and ask yourself, do I really want or need this? By asking this question, we step out of the cognitive bias. Recognizing this question is an indicator of accepting these bias. However, it can sometimes be difficult to recognize when we ourselves are facing a bias. Many marketing strategies already exploit these biases, and there are not just 2 or 3. We have identified at least 188 of them. We are not going to present all 188 cognitive biases in this video, as that would take a lot of time. Instead, we will present those that seem the most powerful or frequent, including some that we will cover in more detail in future videos. First, the confirmation bias. The confirmation bias is like the king of all biases. Surely the one we hear the most about. It's everywhere in the media, social networks, in politics, etc. Imagine you are talking to a flat earther. This person is deeply convinced that the Earth is a plate, not a soup plate, but a dessert plate. It's part of their beliefs. You disagree with them and show them a study confirming the very real evidence that our planet is spherical. But your interlocutor notices in the studies that in a glass of water, the water is horizontal, and therefore the ocean is horizontal. Then they conclude that the Earth is indeed flat, ignoring all other information in the study. They might even discredit the study's authors by insinuating that the study itself is a confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a tendency to search for, interpret, and prioritize information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs while dismissing information that could change our minds. Secondly, the projection bias. Strongly linked to confirmation bias, projection bias consists in projecting our own characteristics, beliefs, or motivation onto others. It's thinking that most people think like us is also called false consensus bias. To remedy this, simply shift from the conceptual to the factual, ensuring precision. Ask the other person to describe how they see things. 3. The conformity bias, another widespread cognitive bias existing since the ancient times, is the conformity bias. It's a tendency to adjust one's opinions or behaviors to align with the group norms. As hunter-gatherers, we had to adapt to our tribe's majority to avoid exclusion and increase survival chances. Similarly, nowadays, it's easy to think if everyone is doing this, it must be the best solution. And anyway, I'm avoiding being avoided. This bias has several sub-biases, such as the bandwagon effect. You know, this famous video of a young woman in a waiting room standing up at the same time as everyone else, without even knowing why, is a perfect illustration. Partly driven by survival instinct, we mimic others. 4. The availability bias. You are an employee in a company. You have a very important file that you are working on. This file takes time. Suddenly, a hierarchical superior enters your office and gives you another file, smaller this time, to handle. You will then start working on it while your other important file is still not achieved. We are facing the availability bias. It means overvaluing the importance of immediately available information rather than considering the entirety of data alongside hierarchical pressure. In companies, a particular tool allows you to fight against this bias, the Eisenhower matrix, which helps you to prioritize important tasks. 5. The planning bias. For the same file your boss gave you, confident, you told him that it will be done in 1 week. On Friday, late in the afternoon, you are in panic. The file isn't finished. So you overestimated your pace and underestimated the time to complete your task. This is called planning bias. In addition to this, we can observe that we tend to overestimate the short term with the short files and underestimate the long term, the first file, our example. Our brain has difficulty to project itself into the future, and the notion of time and planning becomes complicated. The planning bias is also closely related to the optimism bias. So, 6. The optimism bias. With your file, you have committed to holding unrealistic deadlines, 1 week for workload far too large. You overestimated the chances of positive outcomes while underestimating the risks. Yet, you have already seen your colleagues in similar situations, but you thought that you were less exposed to this negative event than they were. It's the very definition of optimism bias. As said before, optimistic in the short term, pessimistic in the long term. We often overcommit to short-term tasks while conversely underestimating what we can achieve in the long term with a limit of 3 months. 7. The screw-up syndrome. You are a recruiter, and during an interview, the first candidate went to the same high school as you, and in terms of personality, he is quite similar to you. The second candidate has more experience than the first for this position, yet he doesn't share at all the same characteristics as you. You will then prioritize the first candidate who is less qualified for the position. This is called scarab syndrome. This is when individuals favor candidates or solutions that reflect their own characteristics or opinions, creating a biased selection. Avoid inbreeding by mixing DNA. 8. The reactivity bias. Have you ever felt in an open space, for example, an inability to work properly when you feel observed by your colleagues or your boss? If yes, rest assured, it's quite common or known as the reactivity bias. This is the alteration of behavior due to the awareness of being observed. This effect can misalign us and therefore alter our actual performances by favoring conformity. The mere presence distorts the measurement itself. The outcome will be different if there is no measurement, as in all physics. In quantum physics, the observation of entangled particles freezes their behavior and disentangles them. There are many of these biases, at least 188 of them. They often combine together. While it's not crucial to know them all, recognizing and understanding them is the first step towards making more informed decisions. This way, we can avoid replicating deceptive patterns, misconceptions, or judgments that could harm us in our daily lives. This video is an introduction to a broader series dedicated to cognitive biases. To continue this discussion with us, treat yourself, tweet us, and subscribe. Feel free to share your experience on subjects in the comments and suggest other topics that will interest you. And see you next time.